How did Miles Mikolas look in his spring debut? Plus, a look back at how the Cardinals have rebuilt their pitching staff in one offseason. All on today's episode of Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can find me on Twitter X at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. I want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. You can also find us on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment while you're there, and hit the notification button so you know when new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers, if you join today, you get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Get more information by visiting FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. So the Cardinals were in Port St. Lucie again today to face the Mets, and it was Miles Mikolas taking the bump for his first start of the spring, and Miles looked very Miles-esque in his first start. That's the best way to describe it. He was quick with the ball. He was very efficient, gave up a couple of hits, one that probably should have been caught by Dylan Carlson in center field. Had some issues with the sun, but spring training, it's okay. Also got one strikeout. He didn't walk anybody and did all of that in 2 innings of work. The pitch count only reached 27, so in fact, he actually came up a little short of what he was supposed to do today. So he had to run out to the bullpen after his start and finish up his work for the day, just kind of part of the whole spring training experience. And during his post-game comments with the media, said he felt good today, kept the ball down, and that it was fun to be back out there. He was charged with a pitch clock violation and explained it afterwards that they had switched the buttons around on the pitch count. This is according to Miles, and he was looking for curveball on it, hit the wrong button, and instead of forcing something up there, he just took the automatic ball since it was just a spring training game and all. John Denton at MLB.com did a story on him and said that in trying to improve from last year's number where he led the league in hits allowed, we all know about that Mikolas was working especially hard on his slider. Denton wrote, unable to rely on pitching to contact as much with MLB's restrictions against defensive shifts, Mikolas is trying to make his slider sharper and tighter so that he can better put away hitters with whiffs. In Tuesday's game against the Mets, Mikolas threw 9 sliders out of 27 pitches. He got swings, but only 2 misses, both on changeups. Denton said one thing that Mikolas might do, as odd as this sounds, is not throw as many strikes, especially when he's ahead in the count. Denton wrote, because his command is stellar, his walk rate at 4.5%, ranked in MLB's top 4%, hitters tend to be more aggressive against him. One issue in particular was when Mikolas would get to 2 strikes, he ultimately allowed 89 hits, 8 home runs, and a .225 opposing batting average. Both the average and hits were the highest numbers in the major leagues in 2023. So we know that he was very much a victim of soft contact last year. I mean, how many times did we hear them talk about soft contact with Miles Mikolas in his start? So some of it bad luck, some of it, like they were talking about here, where maybe a little too much of the strike zone when you're ahead in the count. Try to make these guys reach a little bit. Don't make it so easy for them to put the bat on the ball. Then things like soft contact won't happen as often. As far as the rest of the game went, Ryan Helsley came in, threw a shutout inning today, had 1 strikeout. Jojo Romero got tagged by Pete Alonso for a home run solo shot, which proved to be the game winner in this one, as the Cardinals bats, I mean, they didn't muster much of anything today. 5 hits on the day, get shut out 3-0. Now, it wasn't all the starters that were in there, but you had some big names in there still. Dylan Carlson and Nolan Gorman was in action today. Alec Burleson had 2 of the 5 hits. One of the guys, Alec Burleson, being one of those guys that now that Brandon Crawford's on the team, is he on the team anymore? Something we'll end up talking about later this week. But as far as the offense went today, pretty stagnant, not a lot going on there, not a very exciting game, kind of boring, to be honest. But it was good to see Miles Mikolas pitching well, pitching with confidence, and having some fun while he was out there on the mound as well, which is when Miles is in a good mood and having some fun, that's when you know things are going well. And he seemed genuinely pleased with everything that happened in today's game. Now, I want to talk more about the pitching staff and how Mo and company were able to rebuild this pitching staff in one offseason, something that is not very easy to do. We'll get into it next on Locked On Cardinals. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. And you can bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and a whole lot more. Was thumbing through FanDuel today, looking at some of the different things we can bet on, because I want you to be aware of all of the things that are available to you. And one thing that popped off to me like right away was where you can make your own parlay builder. And one of the stats that was available was you bet on which players can score 20 or more points in their game. So, they had names like Zion Williamson, Tyrese Halliburton, Donovan Mitchell, Kyrie Irving, Kobe White, Scotty Barnes, who just had a triple-double the other way. So many different names, guys that are like 20 points seems like it should be a layup for most of them. And their odds are all different depending on how good that player is. But you can build your own parlay and then turn that into a whole lot of money and you win. So if they hit it, you win. That's as easy as it can be. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering each league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Now, when asked his goals when asked about his goals, what were the goals this offseason? President of Baseball Operations, John Mozeliak, made the statement, and you've heard this over and over: pitching, 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 right? That is all they were focused on. Gone from the starting rotation last year, a very good pitcher in Jordan Montgomery, traded to the Texas Rangers. Jack Flaherty got traded to the Baltimore Orioles. He's now with Detroit. Adam Wainwright has retired. He's now going to play country music for a living. And he's going to be doing, the MLB stuff where he's going to be, doing play-by-play and stuff like that, color commentary, whatever his role is going to be. He's got that going on. Dakota Hudson, Jake Woodford, they're gone. They're free agents. 3/5 of your rotation was gone. So that was the first target for Mo and company, and they didn't waste any time. They jump on Kyle Gibson from the Orioles and former Cardinal Lance Lynn, who had been with the White Sox and Dodgers in 2023. And it left a lot of us shaking our heads, right? Some of us are still shaking our heads like, wait, what? Why did we do this? Because a lot of us thought that the Cardinals were going to make that jump again. And we do it every year. We think that they're going to go out and spend all this crazy money and go get the #1 star that's available out there, like Yoshinobu Yamamoto, NL Cy Young Award winner Blake Snell, who still hasn't signed anywhere. But that didn't happen. We've thought about them maybe bringing Jordan Montgomery back. That hasn't happened. He hasn't signed anywhere. And AL Cy Young runner-up Sonny Gray was obviously the target a lot of us wanted. But at the time, it was just Gibson and Lynn. And yeah, Gibson won 15 games with the Orioles, but he also led the AL in hits given up and batting average against. So you're like, eh. Then there was Lance Lynn, 5th in the league in hits given up, 4th in the league in batting average against, led the league in home runs given up with a whopping 44. They're old. They're both 36, and you're just like, what? And you're going to add them to Miles Mikolas, who we just talked about. He led the league in hits given up. He's 35 years old. What is Mo doing? Why is he targeting old guys that get hit a lot? That was kind of the problem here. But it was pointed out that something about them that they liked was the fact that they both wanted to be Cardinals. And that's great and all, but when you're mapping out a plan to bring the Cardinals back into World Series contention, most of us believe they needed at least two pitchers better than Miles Mikolas and maybe one 4 or 5 guy. And instead, Mo goes out and gets 2 4 or 5 guys to go with Miles and Steven Matz. And we're all like, what the hell, man? But something that was brought up that when you first glance at their stats and stuff, you don't think about this, but what kind of men are these guys that are going to be in the clubhouse? Who are they off the field? This became a very important aspect of the Cardinals' offseason decisions. We found out that things weren't exactly great in the clubhouse last year, that they needed more leadership. Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, better leaders by example than being the vocal guys in the clubhouse. They needed help. They wanted help. They requested help this offseason with that particular problem. Lance Lynn, we know from his time in St. Louis already, not afraid to speak up. Kyle Gibson, apparently also a very good vocal type of leader with strong work ethic. These are the things that made these guys attractive to the Cardinals, and they wanted to be in St. Louis, so they brought him in. I think Gibson is a much better pitcher than people give him credit for. He's not a superstar, but solid. 15 wins with the O's last year on a very good Baltimore team. I was not a huge fan of the Lynn signing. I'm hoping for good things. He seems dedicated. He's in better shape. I'm just hoping Father Time hasn't caught up with him and he's on the decline that he can't come back from. So I hope I'm wrong. But after those signings, panic had set in, and then things calmed down because then the crown jewel of the Cardinals offseason was signed a week later when the Cardinals were able to land one Sonny Gray, right? And then everybody kind of was like, whew! We all took a step back and we're like, okay, all right, we got the guy that's going to be the top of the rotation guy. This was the guy that I wanted the Cardinals to grab the entire time. I mean, he just screamed Cardinals, right? Yeah, he's 34, but he's been pretty healthy in recent years, and he's got that sweeper that's become a dominant pitch over the last few years as well, with the Reds and the Twins. The win total low, but we know that win totals don't always paint the whole picture. And since he's become a Cardinal, Sonny Gray has said and done everything the right way. There's nothing about anything that he's done that anybody should be complaining about. From the introductory press conference, when he told us all that he carries a baseball with him at all times, which, what a nerd, right? But how cool is that to be where he is in his life and his career and still be that guy? He had the great appearance at the winter warm-up. Now it's spring training. He's just been exactly what this rotation and team needed. Vocal leader, demands excellence, not only when playing in a game, but also off the field with the mental and physical preparation. He expects a lot of himself. He expects a lot from his teammates, and he's been quite open about how he and Gibson and Lynn are going to hold people in this rotation and on this team accountable for their actions. You know, his first bullpen session down in Jupiter, everyone stopped to watch because he was just doing it differently than everybody had ever seen before. Shouting out the counts, runner situations, righty-lefty batter. He and Wilson Contreras were building a flow together. They're building a relationship together. And it not only impressed the coaches and the players, but reporters, the media that were around there. Like, everybody just was like, you know, this dude is special. He's wired differently. He's got laser focus on almost everything that he does. One of the great writers for STLtoday.com and the Post-Dispatch, Derek Gould, talked about how when he saw Sonny Gray reading a book, he was doing an interview with Bernie Mikolas, and was talking about how he saw Sonny Gray reading a book in the clubhouse and how he was like reading it, but he was reading it aggressively, like just focused. And he was just like, you know, it was just, you just try not to get in his way. And that's just kind of the way things have been for him and how he's gone about his business since he's become a Cardinal. And we didn't hear a lot about this when he was with the Minnesota Twins because he's in Minnesota. He's in the American League. I don't recall hearing much about this stuff when he was with the Cincinnati Reds. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention, but to hear about it and see it happening with the Cardinals now, I couldn't be more excited to have him as the number one pitcher on this pitching staff. You know, he's got the attitude. He's the type of leader that the Cardinals needed and were looking for. And he's a hell of a pitcher. You know, you could be all of those things and be this great guy, but if you're just kind of mid, not that great, but he's second in the AL Cy Young Award last year. And people, say that maybe he's not an ace or he should be a number 2, not a number 1. I don't believe in that. I think he's definitely a top pitcher in all of baseball. And sure, there are guys that are better than him that, like, if you were to put a matchup between, say, him and Garrett Cole's going to be favored in that matchup. A healthy Shohei Ohtani. Yeah. Ohtani's going to be favored in that matchup. But there's not a lot of guys where you're like, oh, he's head and shoulders above Sonny Gray. There's just not. I dare you to go find one. Find me one in the NL Central. You can argue Justin Steele. We've talked about that before. He's only done it for a year, really. Sonny Gray's been doing this for a while. So I'm excited about it. Obviously, I'm pro Cardinals, so I'm hopeful that Lance Lynn is going to be the better Lance Lynn, the Lance Lynn from 2021. I'm really hoping for that. So we'll see. Now, the bullpen is something that, like, I'm excited about Sonny Gray. The bullpen is something I'm really excited about, though, because there are so many possibilities. There are so many possibilities. We're going to jump into that and how Mo built the bullpen with a bunch of dudes that most of you don't even know. So I can understand why you're skeptical when you see it and you're like, oh, what? This is our bullpen? But I'm hopefully gonna install a little faith into you when we talk about the bullpen next. And I'm going to give you my projected opening day staff. We'll do that next on Locked On Cardinals. You shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to the next big event that you want to go to, whether it's a sporting event, whether it's a concert, a comedy show, theater. Maybe you want to go see some theater. Nothing's wrong with that. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets to all of these events and not have to worry about anything when you get these tickets. They've got killer last minute deals. When baseball season rolls around, there's going to be times where, you know what? I can get out of the office a little early today, make it on down to Busch Stadium. We can make it for batting practice. Let me check out the Gametime app, see what they got. Well, lucky for you, they do killer last minute deals. They've got all in prices, so you're not fooled by what the price might be. Views from your seat, so you know exactly what you're going to be seeing, and the best price guarantee. Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. So what you need to do, if you haven't already, is download the Gametime app, create an account, and then use the code Locked On. $20 off your first purchase. How about that? We're going to save you some money right away. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code Locked On. $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code Locked On, spelled LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today right now, available on the free Fire TV channels app. So the next thing that needed to be addressed, you've got the rotation, you got your three guys that are going in with Mikolas and Matz, was the bullpen, which was a disaster last year as well. Closer Ryan Helsley, stud when he's healthy. Gets hurt a lot. It's okay to admit that. It's just part of it. But gone were Jordan Hicks. Off to Toronto, now with the San Francisco Giants. Going to be a starter. See how that works out. The dependable Chris Stratton traded away with the Jordan Montgomery trade to the Rangers. He's in Kansas City, I believe, now. The Cardinals wanted more swing and miss stuff in the pen, and I think my favorite part about this offseason outside of the Sonny Gray signing was the approach that Mo had at rebuilding this bullpen. There were expensive free agents available out there. You had guys like Josh Hader that you could have thrown $1 bazillion at and maybe signed him. But the Cardinals had so many holes, you couldn't just give the bag to one guy and expect all your problems to go away. It would not work that way. So instead, Mo goes out and he goes and gets a bunch of guys. Many of them you and I have never heard of, right? And what he does is he gets so many that he's creating competition and giving Ali and the rest of the organization multiple options to bring up and down. You know, the Memphis train there coming from AAA. Now you've got a lot of arms to choose from. And that's one thing the Cardinals learned the hard way last year was that you need depth on your roster and in your organization. It's key. People get hurt. People have bad seasons and struggle. You didn't want to get set up to be shorthanded again in 2024 like you were last year. So one of the first moves, which was a very under the radar move, and one of the guys that is all the buzz of camp right now, is the trade they made for Riley O'Brien from the Seattle Mariners. We'll throw up a picture of Riley right now on YouTube real quick. But yeah, Riley O'Brien. Nobody had hardly heard of this guy. Former 8th round pick by the Rays in 2017. Had spent time with the Reds, now Seattle. Has only appeared in 2 major league games. 2. He's 29 years old now. What about that? Sounds good. Not much, right? But last year at AAA, he appears in 51 games, 2.29 ERA, strikes out 89 hitters in 55 innings, which is a 14.1 strikeouts per 9 average. Something's going on there. You don't just roll out of bed and all of a sudden you're striking out 14.1 per 9. And so far at camp, we've been able to see the impressive arsenal that Riley O'Brien has right now. He's sitting 98, 99 on the fastball. He's got devastating breaking stuff, making people look foolish up there. I mean, this is a guy that you think that just about anybody could have had. I have no idea why my camera is all blurry right now. I apologize for this. I don't know what it's doing on YouTube. It is not straightening up. Let's try. Let me move this. That is not working either. Well, sorry for the blurry look. I have no idea why it's doing that right now. It's being all goofy. But anyway, they bring back Wilking Rodriguez, whose 2023 was a lost year due to injuries, but he's got strikeout potential. They grab Ryan Fernandez in the Rule 5 draft from the Red Sox. They trade Tyler O'Neill to Boston, grab 2 more arms from them and Nick Anderson and Victor Santos. Fernandez and Anderson are going to compete for a spot in the pen this spring. We'll see what happens. Another move that was made that I was a big fan of was sending Richie Palacios to the Rays for reliever Andrew Kittredge. Yeah, we love Palacios. We loved his smile. We loved his story. He was fun while he was in St. Louis. But unfortunately, the Cardinals needed a pitcher more than they needed what he could offer, and they were able to swap him. Now, Kittredge had returned from Tommy John surgery in mid-August, and from all accounts, looked very much like the pitcher who was an all-star in 2021 when he was 9-3 with a 1.88 ERA and an ERA plus of 2.15 before getting hurt in 2022. I'm just going to throw this up here for now. I have no idea why it's so blurry on YouTube. I apologize for that. But then in the beginning of February, Mo grabs another veteran in right-hander Keenan Middleton. Now, I've got something I want to show you guys as far as Keenan Middleton goes. I'm going to throw up his Baseball Savant page, okay? Now, in Middleton's career, hadn't really done anything all that eye-popping, right? Angels, Mariners, Diamondbacks, nothing special. But in 2023, he changed something. Something clicked while he's with the White Sox and the Yankees. 39 games in Chicago, 3.96 ERA, strikes out 47 and 36 in the third innings, gets traded to the Yankees, is even better with New York. 12 games, 1.88 ERA, ERA plus of 2.35. So combined last year, he finishes 2-2 with a 3.38 ERA, 64 whiffs and 50 2/3 innings, ERA plus of 1.33. So what was the magical change that he made? What did he learn to do? The key to his success was he quit throwing his fastball as much and started using the changeup and slider more. And it was huge for him. You're looking at the whiff rate. You're looking at the K rate. Like, look at all the red that is in here. If you're on YouTube, you can see it. I got it up there for you right now. I mean, all that is beautiful. Now, the question is, will he be able to do it again in 2024? That remains to be seen. You couple all of these additions with guys like Ryan Helsley and Giovanni Gallegos, Jojo Romero, Andre Palante, John King, although he's had a rough go in the spring so far, And we've still got Zach Thompson, Matthew Liberatore, Drew Rom. We don't know exactly how they're going to fit in the mix yet. We know there's competition for that sixth starter swingman type of spot with Libby and Thompson as the top candidates to get it. There's been that chatter about the Cardinals using a six-man rotation to start the year because of the amount of games and the travel that is going to take place in the first month of the season for them. And perhaps later on in the year, you get younger prospects like Tink Hence and Cooper Jerpy, who have made some noise at spring training right now, and maybe they make a good enough impression at AA and AAA that they end up making it up to the big leagues this year. It's a possibility. I know it's not a lot of well-known guys, but it's a lot of high ceiling arms. And it's a lot of guys competing for a few spots, which brings the best out of everybody involved. And I think that's a great way to go about building your bullpen. The Cardinals weren't just one or two guys away. They needed multiple arms. So that's what they went out and did. Probably got a little help from Kyle Bloom, who was, the guy that they brought in from Boston who was with the Rays. But Chaim Bloom is somebody that obviously gave him some input because they were able to get some guys from Boston and from Tampa Bay. I love the Kittredge and Middleton moves. I'm very intrigued by Riley O'Brien. So for the bullpen, I'm excited about it. I think they did it the right way, the smart way, and we're just hoping that it all pans out. Now, as far as the opening day roster goes, we're going to run down this real quick. Only got a couple of minutes here. And I'm going to try to see if it's still blurry. I have no idea why it's like this. I cannot explain it to you. Like, what has made this camera blurry all of a sudden? Do I have something on it? Nope. It's still not gonna focus, is it? All right. Well, we're gonna put this photo back up because I don't want to drive you guys nuts with that. But anyway, opening day roster: Gray, Gibson, Mikolas, Lynn, and Matz. Those are your starting five, right? Zach Thompson, in my opinion, has been better than Matthew Liberatore at the major league level. These are facts. So I'm going to give the nod to Thompson over Libby. I think Libby starts at Memphis. Ryan Helsley is your closer. Jojo Romero, your top lefty. Then you've got Andrew Kittredge, Giovanni Gallegos, Keenan Middleton. I think they give the benefit of the doubt to Andre Palante, who's been here for a couple of years, over the Rule 5 pick Ryan Fernandez. Not saying that Fernandez can't outperform Palante in camp. I could see that happening, and if it does, I could see them sticking around with them. But as of right now, on February 28th, they'll give the nod to Andre Palante, who's actually looked pretty good this spring. And then I got Riley O'Brien in there. So there you go. That's 13 pitchers to start the year, which means you'll have 13 spots for position players. Not a lot of wiggle room there. We're going to go over the offseason for the position players, projected opening day lineups. I'm going to do all of that with you guys tomorrow, hopefully with a camera that stays in focus during the whole show. If you're listening on the audio version, good for you because you don't have to worry about it. But I apologize for I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, do me a solid, give me a follow on Twitter X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. It means the world to me that if you like and subscribe, if you're somebody who is loyal and you are on there and you are watching day in and day out, make sure you like and subscribe each and every episode that you watch, because that's how we get growth with the channel. We're making the push to get to 10,000 subscribers before opening day. We've got a month to do it. We're on pace to get there. Let's do it together. Let's continue letting our love for the Cardinals grow nationally. I know there was people in Australia downloading the podcast. I had some people in China doing it. Love it. I love it. Cardinals Nation, strong worldwide. You're the best fans in baseball for a reason. I'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.